Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Acupuncture is My Life. Now, in this episode, I'd like to discuss foods that can cause hair loss. Because I wouldn't say many, but quite a few individuals have asked this question from several different countries via the Acupuncture is My Life app. And if you don't already have the app, download it. It's free. You can communicate with Acupuncture is My Life. You can check out the blogs, the health blogs, access Acupuncture is My Life on every social media platform there is. But there were a few individuals who were concerned about hair loss and can the types of foods that they eat affect the strength of their hair, the luster of their hair. And yes, it can. The thing is having a lot of hair, youthful looking hair, to some individuals, they view that as a sign of good health. And in a lot of ways it is. And the kidney meridian, believe it or not, as understood by an acupuncturist, is responsible for hair on top of your head, the lustrous aspects of it, the strength of it, the abundance. Is it graying, or is it still carrying its natural color? And it strongly represents the strength of your kidneys, the kidney meridian. And the hair on your skin reflects the strength of your lungs. I'm sorry, I need my green tea. Here we go again. When you hear me stumbling on words, I know many of you already know he didn't have his tea yet. But anyway. And yes, there are certain foods that you should consider avoiding for good hair health. And to many individuals globally, they don't realize that. And one type of food is of course greasy foods like French fries or fried chicken or fried fish. Because I've had a similar discussion in the past with regard to this topic to an extent. And greasy foods and nice, beautiful hair do not work together. Because think about it, your scalp releases a certain type of oil or lubricant called sebum. And this sebum is responsible for moisturizing the skin on the top of your head. But it can become real greasy if you're eating too much in the way of fried, oily foods, therefore making your hair appear as like dirty. And this excess buildup of grease would now begin to block the hair follicles, therefore, of course, making it hard for your hair to grow. Okay? And many individuals don't realize that a diet that's rich in monounsaturated fats or saturated fats tend to increase a person's level of testosterone. which then creates a certain type of androgen and hormone that's heavily tied to alopecia, which is an autoimmune disorder that causes a person's hair to fall out. Many individuals are unaware of that. Another type of food which I speak about so much on our TikTok social media platform. Again, if you don't have the app, download it. It's free. You can access all social media platforms. But on TikTok, oh my gosh, over and over, I tell individuals, stay away from diet sodas. Avoid diet sodas at all cost. Because diet sodas contain a certain type of chemical called aspartame, which is an artificial sweetener that can cause your hair to thin, or even you can even lose hair. So avoid diet sodas at all costs. My recommendation, room temperature water or herbal tea. And if you want the right herbal tea for you, see an acupuncturist. Just to pick up any type of herbal tea because it's good for this or good for that, so it's stated. You may not need that, and it may do more harm than good. So see an acupuncturist to discuss what type of herbal tea or teas is good for you, you would benefit from. You also want to attempt to avoid foods such as sushi, swordfish, maybe even mackerel or some certain types of tuna. Why? Because it's very high in mercury. And mercury can cause sudden hair loss. So be careful with the types of fishes you choose to include in your diet, because it can be a type of fish, again, it's high in mercury, and it's not good because it'll cause hair loss. And I know many of you love to run out and grab a few donuts on the way to work, from work, at lunchtime, headed to your kid's school or wherever. Or certain types of cakes. Go to restaurants and eat that refined pasta. See, foods that have a high glycemic index can shrink a person's hair follicles, which then would lead to thinner hair that would have a more brittle texture to it. So you also want to be careful. Yeah, the donuts, yeah, you love your strawberry or jelly donuts or cream-filled donuts. No, try and avoid those. Pick up some strawberries or some pistachios and things of that nature. That's really good for you, healthy for you. You want something sweet? Quality dark chocolate. Or even fruits. You know, because as a doctor of acupuncture, I totally understand that health as well. I understand it's not in the bank. It's not in the safe. It's not in the stock market or in an app on your phone. It's not in your pocket. It's not in your purse. It's not under the mattress. It's not in the shoebox in the closet. It's not under the doghouse in the backyard. I understand that the wealth is in you, and so should you. It's part reason as to why you listen to the Acupuncture is My Life podcast. Another is salt, especially that table salt. Now, when I touch salt, it may be pink Himalayan salt or sea salt, depending on what brand. But too much salt or sodium can build up in your hair follicles and block the absorption of certain key nutrients that keep your hair healthy. Many individuals globally are unaware of that. So you want to be careful with your salt intake. You also want to really balance out that sodium-potassium ratio. So you want to get enough potassium in the form of, let's say, eating bananas. Because potassium is important for hair growth. Very important. You are what you eat. And see, these are things you'll learn just by seeing a physician on an annual basis and making regular wellness visits with an acupuncturist. And you know what else you want to look to avoid is sugary foods that are loaded with sugar. Why? Because excess sugar, eating too much sugar causes or elicits an inflammatory response in the body, which then makes your blood sugar spike. And overall reaction to that, it affects hair growth. Because insulin resistance as a result can lead to balding in both women and men. So when I say sugary foods, no, I'm not talking about fruits. If you want to eat sweet foods, yeah, some fruits. I'm talking about cupcakes, donuts, cookies, and pies, and no, muffins, no. No, let's look to avoid that. Let's really look to avoid that. And I know many of you already know I'm going to say alcohol. That's like the big red X. No way. Stay away from it. Why? Because drinking alcohol tends to contribute to various nutritional deficiencies, which can lead to hair loss. And alcohol also tends to dehydrate a person, drying out your scalp, your skin, making your hair brittle, which increases the likelihood of it falling out or breaking off. Because drinking too much in the way of alcohol leads to zinc deficiency, biotin deficiency, copper deficiency. And you need those three minerals for good hair health. I could sit around for the next 60 hours straight telling you why I feel you should look to avoid alcohol. Now, some will listen, and then there are those that won't, and then there are those that always, whenever I speak out against alcohol, I'm going to hear from them over the Acupuncture is My Life app. Most of them with one word: nope. But you don't have to stop right away. You could lower your consumption. Cut down on how much alcohol you drink. And then go from there. If you feel there's some type of addiction, acupuncturists have a certain protocol called the NADA protocol that treats alcohol and recreational drug addiction. But if alcohol is contributing to nutritional deficiencies, period, even although it leads to hair loss, that should be enough to warrant you to want to stop and see an acupuncturist. It really, really should. Okay? So think about it. And while you're thinking about it, make acupuncture a part of your life. Because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?